Good morning. So you must have checked the previous video on elements of weather. Okay, so this is the second video where we're going to discuss the same chapter but different factors. Okay, different elements meaning different factors. So this is the elements of weather again. So a short recap of what we've done in the previous video, and that was what we finished till now is the definition of weather and climate, where I told that weather is the day-to-day change, whereas the climate does not change for 30 to 35 years. Then we did the difference between the weather and climate. I've also given you questions on them to write the difference between the two, so you must have understood by now. Then we did the factors or the elements that affect the weather and climate. And I told you that the first element we did was the temperature. And there again, in temperature, I told you that temperature is also affected by latitude, altitude, distance from the sea, directions of wind and ocean current. So this I have explained to you one by one in the previous video. Now today we have still not finished the temperature. So we will still be sticking to the element of weather, what all the temperature does, okay, and how does it change the climate and the weather. So this is what we're going to do. So today we are going to do the types of heating. I'm still doing from your book. So types of heating, meaning heating, when we say heating, we are actually talking about the temperature only. So the atmosphere gets heated by three processes. All right, they are known as radiation, conduction, and convection. There are three processes by which the atmosphere gets heated. Why am I talking about the atmosphere getting heated? Is because when the atmosphere gets heated, that is when the temperature of the earth also becomes either high, or if it does not get heated enough, then the temperature becomes low. Okay, so let's move on to doing the first one, that's the radiation. So radiation, actually, what radiation means is it is a process. Okay, it is a process by which the heat is transferred from one body, from hot body, of course, because heat is being transferred. So from a hotter body to a colder body. It's written in your book also, if you can see. So it's from a hotter body to a colder body when the heat gets transferred, but it does not heat anything that is in between. It directly heats the object that it is supposed to heat. Understood? So radiation is the process of transfer of heat from a hot body to a colder body without heating the space that is in between. The in between space, it has nothing to do with in between space. In between space, it doesn't affect. It will directly heat the surface or the space that it is supposed to heat. All right. So the radiant heat energy received from the earth, received by the earth from the sun is called insolation. You understood what I just said? So there is an energy that we receive from the earth's surface, and that energy that we receive, the heat energy that we receive, we receive light energy also, but the heat energy that we receive from the sun is what is called insolation. Please underline this portion, it is important. Okay, the energy the energy from the sun, now what it happens is it will first heat up the earth's surface, and then it will start to heat up the air that is above us. First the land will be heated, then in turn the atmosphere around us, the layer after layer, the atmosphere will start to then get heated up. Now this will rise the surface temperature. This radiation will also known as the insolation. This radiation is the solar radiation, and when we receive it on the earth's surface, it's insolation. So this will increase the temperature of the earth to to a level of around 15 degrees Celsius, okay, and then it will slowly, layer by layer, it will start to heat the air above. So what happens is this transfer of heat, okay, from the sun to the earth is radiation, but and then this radiation is again, this is solar radiation, which is also known as insolation. Now this heat will again be reflected, will again be heating the air above, and this is known as terrestrial radiation, meaning the earth surface reflecting the heat back and heating the atmosphere is known as terrestrial radiation. Okay, this is what is the meaning of radiation. Now, the second process by which the atmosphere gets heated is known as the conduction. Conduction is a process again of heating the atmosphere, of course. Transfer of heat, it is a transfer of heat from one body to another, but that one body to another, the two bodies have to come in contact. Okay, so the air, in this case, the air near the land surface is heated by conduction. So immediately the land, I told you the radiation, solar radiation is heating the land. Then immediately above the land, whatever air we have, that gets heated. That's known as conduction. Okay, transfer of heat from one medium to another medium, but through contact is known as conduction. Now the next process third process is convection. So convection is the transfer of heat again, but from one place to another, or from one body to another, one place to another, let's say, when the particles within them starts to move. Okay, so movement within, or movement because of the gases or liquid present in the air, the transfer of heat takes place, and this is what is called convection. So the heated air, what happens is the heated air in the atmosphere, it expands and it becomes lighter and it starts to rise. Because it becomes lighter than the surrounding area, it starts to rise, and slowly the cooler air will come to take its place. Okay, as the warm air starts to rise, it will start to it will start to warm the other surface above it, and then the cool air will come and take its place. This process is known as convection. Okay, so the transfer of heat is taking place, and here there is a movement of warm and the cold air. The land and the sea breeze that we talk about, that is also a process of convection. All right, so this is about the processes or processes of how the atmosphere is getting heated. So children, I hope you understood. Now we'll move on to doing the heat zones of the earth. This is also related to temperature. That's why I'm doing this in this video only. So the heat zones of the earth, like let's say the temperature of the earth, the radiation, the insolation, the convection, the conduction that we did, these processes is heating the atmosphere, but all the surfaces of the earth does not get equal amount of solar radiation, because of which some areas receive very high temperature, some areas experience very low temperature, some areas experience moderate kind of temperature. So that is the reason why that there have been these heat zones that have been identified, and these heat zones are also known as temperature zones or climatic zones. All right, so there are accordingly 3 different heat zones on the earth's surface. They are known as the Torrid Zone, the Temperate Zone, and the Frigid Zone. All right, the first one being the Torrid Zone. I'll explain it to you through the diagram that I have included here, which we will not find in your book, but it is a little bit blur. When I explain to you, I think you will understand. So this portion, this green portion that we have, is the Torrid Zone. Okay, 23 degrees north and between 23 degrees north and 23 degrees south, this portion is known as the Torrid Zone, or you can say between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, the area that we have is known as the Torrid Zone. Here, because the equator lies, equator is at the center, equator receives the direct rays of the sun throughout the year. So this portion is receiving the direct rays of the sun throughout the year, because of which this area has highest temperature. Okay, whatever be the season, this area will receive almost always the direct rays of the sun. That's the reason why the temperature here will be highest. So this is the hottest and the wettest region of the world. All right. Next we have is the temperate zone. Now you can see the temperate zone we have are two: the north temperate zone and the south temperate zone. The north temperate zone obviously is in the northern side, northern hemisphere, which lies between the Tropic of Cancer and Arctic Circle, 66.5 degree north. It is a little blur. Please try and understand. Okay. So this area is known as the temperate zone, and here the temperature is moderate. It is not very high, not very low. It's a pleasant kind of weather conditions here. Now again, you have to understand that areas, even within the temperate zone, areas lying near the Tropic of Cancer will have higher temperature than those that are lying near the Arctic Circle. All right. Same with the south temperate zone also. South temperate zone also lies between the Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle. Now here again, the temperatures are moderate. The climatic conditions are moderate, not very hot, not very cold. But again, within this also, within this temperate zone also, the areas that lie near the Tropic of Capricorn, will have higher temperature in comparison to those areas lying near the Antarctic Circle. Okay, the last one being the Frigid Zone, which lies between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole, between the Arctic Circle and the North Pole, and between the here in the south, you will see it lies between the Antarctic Circle and the South Pole. All right, so now this Frigid Zone never receives the direct rays of the sun. It is always tilted because of the inclination of the Earth's axis. It is always tilted. It never receives the direct rays of the sun. That's the reason why the temperatures here are always very, very low. Okay, this is the area or zone that also experiences 6 months of daylight and 6 months of darkness, both the frigid zones. So in short, let me just recap what we did is the Torrid Zone, which lies within the tropics, and it's the hottest region. Okay, the next we have is the temperate zone, which lies between the tropics and the circles in north and south hemisphere. They have the moderate type of climatic conditions, and the last one, the third one, is the frigid zone, and this frigid zone also lies in the northern and the southern hemisphere, but this frigid zone is the coldest. Temperatures are always very, very low. It experiences 6 months of darkness and 6 months of daylight. All right, so we will ask, this diagram is very important. We will ask you to draw this diagram as well. If you are not able to understand clearly the diagram, you may Google and you may find similar type of diagram, and you may also, you may use that diagram, but you will have to color the diagram, and you have to make sure that the torrid zone is same color, the temperate zones are similar, and the frigid zones are similar. So I hope you understood whatever I am trying to explain. This is all for today. See you in the next video. Thank you.